No, no.
All right. Well, now for real this time. This is truly the end of an era. Apologies to those listening in. I did not hit start streaming, and you missed 8 wonderful minutes of Brielle and I talking about competitive Olympic snowball fighting.
Yes.
To start out, we were just discussing how this is the end of an era, the last of this regime hosting Icy Veins, Her Take, and Sports Voice.
Yes.
So no better person to come on than Brielle for this. And we began talking about Olympic snowball fighting and their quest to be included in the Olympics in 2030. So feel free to give us the spark notes on the rules here.
Yes, I will give the spark notes. First off, just want to say I also did that once where I didn't start the stream and we were like 10 minutes in before Chelsea and I noticed it was very bad. But basically, professional snowball fighting is a thing already. This is not something that I made up.
I thought it was at first.
I know. I thought it was too until I looked it up because I wanted to see if it was feasible. But it originated in 1989 in Hokkaido as a way to boost winter tourism. It's 7-on-7 snow battle played on a 10 by 36 meter court. And there's 90 pre-made snowballs from like a machine. There's defensive shelters, which are basically just like blocks, like almost like a wood panel kind of, or like plastic. And basically the goal is there's 3 sets of 3 minutes. And basically if the way to win is either to capture the flag, so kind of like capture the flag when you were little, or eliminate everybody on the other team, so kind of like dodgeball. And the most recent tournament was in Sweden, and it was the Swedish Championship in this year. But it's also in Hokkaido, Finland, Norway, Russia, Canada, New Zealand, Armenia, Austria, and then also sometimes in Alaska. So I think, and they have been, as Gabe mentioned, lobbying for being in the Olympics for several years now, the Japanese Federation at least. So yeah, low key, I hope it starts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very game for this. It sounds so exciting, and a big part of it too is that it's so digestible for viewers. If you just come on, you see people snowball fighting. Like there are so many sports out there that you just don't understand when you're watching the Winter Olympics.
Like
curling,
which we will.
We will be talking about wheelchair curling up next for those who see the up next segment. But there are just so many that aren't digestible to new viewers. Or like I still am not fully aware of how exactly the skiing scoring works, or like the figure skating scoring, where some of it's judged and some of it's based on flips. But something where it's just dodgeball or capture the flag is so much fun, and I very much want to see it. I'll give the spark notes of mine as well.
Yes.
I want to talk about ice climbing. So we got sport climbing.
Okay.
Already in the Olympics, and it's quite similar. I watch a lot of bouldering and a lot of speed climbing.
I was gonna say, is that the one? Is sport climbing like just where they like try and get as fast to the top?
So that's one of the disciplines. So it used to be all 3 disciplines combined, then they separated it into 2 in one and 1 in the other. Okay. So recently it was speed, where essentially there's just this giant rock wall, and when the buzzer goes off, you race up it as fast as you can.
Right. Yeah.
And the record is like sub 5 seconds.
Which is crazy.
So it's just like the quickest sport you'll see. But there's now a push to do that with ice climbing, where people are using these things called they're picks, and then they're using crampons. So essentially it's one of the disciplines is still speed. So it's but there's different versions. So there's frozen waterfalls, and then there's glacier and high altitude ice, and then a mix of rock and ice.
Whoa.
So there's 3 different kind of ways that you climb up, and essentially the speed discipline in particular is just climbing up all of these like icy mountains as quick as you can.
Yeah.
And I feel like when the whole point is that you're doing it in these very mountainous locations, why like Salt Lake City keeps hosting the Olympics when it wouldn't host really the summer.
Yeah.
Or like the French Alps, or all these cities across northern Italy, if we're having these giant ice mountains, I just don't see why people shouldn't be climbing them.
No, that sounds really cool. And also I feel like that'd be harder because like with the ice picks, don't you have to like jam it into the
you have to jam it into like the side of the mountain and go up quickly, and then you have to grip your feet onto it too. And
I feel like that would be harder than bouldering and like speed climbing.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I mean, I feel like it's much more balance based would be my theoretical assumption of it. I don't know, maybe less just because you have more of like a solid foothold.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, it remains to be seen. And I know they've been like very active in trying to get this into the Winter Olympics. Now that it's in the summer, they have more of a ground to stand on too.
Because it's like, hey, they did it. Why can't we?
Exactly. Well, without further ado, given my errors in hitting start streaming, we'll move on to the segment that I think Brielle was most excited to talk about.
Yes.
And that is wheelchair curling.
Yes.
So the Olympics are over. So many people thought is this podcast coming to an end? No. You know why? Because we have the Paralympics to talk about.
Yes.
So wheelchair curling is in the preliminary stages now, the round robin session. When I wrote this earlier today, it was Sweden, Canada, and China as the undefeated teams. I've not checked to see if they're still undefeated. I know Sweden is. Canada and China were playing today. But tell us what we ought to know about this, Brielle. Who are the favorites? How is this different in wheelchairs? I was watching some highlights.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that you don't have really the sweepers as much.
Yeah, no.
And it's much more about like shuffleboard-esque finesse.
Yeah, you don't have sweepers at all, which I thought was crazy because I feel like the sweepers do so much in like regular curling when I watched it. I will admit I'm not too versed on either of them, but I feel like whenever I see curling, it's like a big part is just like sweeping to get the friction, melt it, whatever. But yeah, the players remain seated in the wheelchairs the whole time to make it fair. And then no sweeping is allowed. And so the stone like travels untouched after they let it go. So I feel like that's just like it's so much harder because you have to be so much more accurate and really like with your toss glide with the stone like to get into the circle, like you have to be way more accurate than with curling because you can't sweep it at all.
You also have so many less methods to make yourself accurate. So I feel like with curling, because they're like skating down the ice and they can release it at a moment's notice. But when you're sitting, you're having someone hold your wheelchair in place. So you're not even allowed to move that. Yeah. And it's just like one stick that you're pushing it with. Yeah. It's just like there aren't as many skills that you need to know, but you need to have so much more focus on one specific skill to succeed.
Yeah. And I feel like it's very easy for like, I don't know, if you're pushing a stick out, it's very easy for it to just like go haywire. Like, I mean, like even in softball, like when you're way extended, it's easier for your bat to just like kind of flip around. Like especially in bunts too, when you're just out in front. So like keeping it close is good. And I'm not too sure if like they use that to their advantage where they like keep it in and like kind of barely push it, but I feel like then it wouldn't generate enough momentum.
Yeah, theoretically, because I mean, I don't know. I feel like the closest thing I've done is like play shuffleboard with people, and like you have to have so much finesse, but also I think so much of it is the accuracy of it. And if you don't have like a straight arm at the end of it, it's harder to get it accurate.
Okay.
But also, I don't know. It's like the matter of just how long the ice is. Like I got to imagine like the tiniest little bit of force could change it from. Like just change it so drastically.
Yeah, from like 1 point to no points or 3 points to no points. And then like I have to think like I don't know. It just I really like the games that have a lot more strategy to it. Not saying that curling definitely doesn't have strategy, but I just feel like this again with the added like no sweeping, like with the stick, sitting down, like it's a lot different.
Are there certain like top curlers that you're aware of or people that are the favorites here?
I know that China is always very good at wheelchair curling and Canada is as well. I'm not sure if China is good at regular curling, but I know Canada is.
Yeah, it's a lot of those like it's like the like northern European countries and then it's I mean, I feel like the Winter Olympics is wherever it gets snow really. But
yeah, that's true. I always wonder about that, like obviously, you see so many countries in the Summer Olympics that don't compete in the Winter Olympics just because they never get snow, and then it's not like feasible for them to travel somewhere where there's snow. But yeah, I know for sure that China is really good. I think they're defending champs, if I remember correctly. And then there's this really good player on the Canadian team. I'm forgetting his name right now, but. I looked him up and he apparently, whenever you look up all these Paralympic players, they always give the backstory to why they're like competing in the Paralympics. And his was also very tragic. He was like flying a plane and it ended up, or like a helicopter maybe, and it ended up crashing in a field. So he had to get one of his legs amputated. But I mean, he's doing great in the Paralympics, so I'm proud of him. Like I love the Paralympics because it just shows. Like, the Olympics show how far you can push the human body, and I feel like the Paralympics go even further than that because it's like these people are disadvantaged in terms of, like, they might have had a leg amputated or maybe their arm or, just different impairments, and they're, like, amazing because it's like, wow, like...
It's always so curious to me, too, if they were, like, already, like, at the top of their game in, like, one discipline and then they had an injury and then you see that. Because I feel like there's a lot of people who could be in considered Paralympians in their respective sports or disciplines,
Mhm.
but end up like competing in the Olympics themselves too. So
Yeah,
there's
for
just
sure.
I don't know. There's so many interesting stories with it, and we'll perhaps get into a little later the differences between
Yeah,
the
yeah,
two and
yeah.
how to better cover them. But in the meantime, we'll move on to Oksana Masters, who is the Paralympian that I have just been absolutely fascinated and going down a rabbit hole by for much of today. As it seems like you were too, Brielle.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Oksana Masters was born in Ukraine, and she was exposed to severe in utero radiation as a result of Chernobyl. So she wasn't born yet at the time of Chernobyl, but when she was born, she had webbed fingers, no thumbs.
Mhm.
She had such issues in the different sizing of her legs that she had to have one leg amputated at age 9, another at 14. And she's won 20 Olympic medals now.
Yeah.
And the craziest part of this to me is just how many different sports she's won them in.
Mhm.
Um, so one of the big things that has always fascinated me is people who are competing in multiple sports.
Right.
And if you think Jack Lausch is great, then just take a look at Oksana Masters, because she has
Oh
won
man.
20 Olympic medals across rowing, Nordic skiing, cycling, and now she's also won gold in biathlon. Just yesterday, I believe,
Yeah.
she won the gold in the women's seated biathlon. And she's also spent 7 years growing up. She spent 7 years across over a dozen orphanages. So yeah, just what is, Brielle, your reaction to just the insane story that we have come across with her?
I don't know, it's very inspiring. She's a great athlete. I do find it, I don't know, interesting that she competes for the US instead of
Yeah.
Ukraine because she was born there. Maybe because she just feels more ties to America, but apparently her hometown is Louisville, Kentucky.
Hmm.
Um she's I don't know. That was just crazy to me how she like literally, yeah, like you were saying with multi-sport athletes. I think sometimes it's great to like it's easy to see like I don't know, like gosh, basketball players go play golf or something and be pretty good at it, you know?
Hmm.
But I feel like all of these sports are kind of different in their own regard. Like a lot of them probably like have the movements like rowing and like skiing and biathlon have this movement or like with your hands, I don't know, but like
Yeah.
they're all very different, I feel like, especially biathlon.
Yeah, biathlon, where I mean, I imagine like the fact that biathlon, I mean, is, for those who don't know, is skiing and then you're shooting guns.
Right.
And the fact that she has webbed fingers and
Yeah, she actually
and
had
no thumbs.
surgery.
Yeah.
She had surgery to I saw this. She had surgery, I forget at what age, but in order to kind of mold her hands into like so her hands kind of had like thumbs in a way. I wonder how that affects her.
Yeah, because you got to imagine too, like the folks that she's competing against are folks who are also in this class are amputees, right?
Right.
But these folks aren't amputees with hand issues. They have like
Right.
perfectly fine hands that they're using to shoot these guns. And the fact that she's at such a significant disadvantage and she's still like arguably the best in the world
Yeah.
at this discipline is insane to me.
Yeah, and she's also the best, she's the most decorated US winter Paralympian in
Mm.
history with 14 as you
Yeah.
mentioned, and 10 of those are gold, which is
Yeah.
just insane. Um
But doing a winter and summer, like her first Olympics was 2012.
yeah,
She was 22 then, she's 36 now. Like people are
38 I think.
Is she 38? I thought she was 36.
Oh no, she is 36. I
Yeah,
misread the number.
folks are like gawking at the Lindsey Vonn like 4 years
Yeah.
old stat, and I'm like, this woman's done it in like 4 different sports and multiple different Olympic cycles. Like genuinely, it's been a very long time since I found an athlete and was fascinated by their life story in such a way.
Yeah.
As Oksana Masters, just from her upbringing to the fact that she was surviving Chernobyl. Yeah, just for those who are unaware of her and who haven't watched the Paralympics, like there's nothing more I can do than just like absolutely implore you to check this out, because genuinely like one of the coolest stories in sports that I had never heard of before I was looking into it over the weekend.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I just brought up a quote now. She said that she was brought to the United States at 8 years old. And she said that they told her mom that she wasn't supposed to live past 10 years old.
Jeez.
And look at her now.
Yeah.
Most decorated winter Paralympian for the US ever. And yeah, I don't know. I always like stories like this in any regard. for sports or just for life in general, where it's kind of like an underdog story in a way, I would say. But even just then, like, just feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, and then going out and literally dominating is just very inspiring, and it's a fun story to, follow, which I think is a pretty basic thing to say, but still worth saying.
Oh, 100%. Well, with that, speaking of amazing athletes, we're going to move on to, it wouldn't be a final Icy Veins without a draft segment. And this one's a classic. I've been saving it all quarter for when we inevitably had it come by. If you've watched the Sports Block before, you know the starting 5 drafts, where you're drafting a basketball team, the 5 positions, and you need a Winter Olympian now for each of those 5 positions. I'm very unsure of which way I'm going to go with this, Brielle. I will.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give you the first pick if you would like it.
I like low-key have never done a draft like this before on.
Really?
Yeah. So low-key, I didn't pick them for their positions. I low-key just put names down.
Yeah, you're all good.
So I'll decide, I guess, during the time. I'm gonna low-key. Okay, the reason why I said before that I was like researching Masters is because I actually picked her as one of my 5.
Oh boy, damn. I really wanted to take Masters.
Good thing I said her first. But I don't know, just like, again, something with it, like adversity is something that's so big. And also she's 5'8". That's pretty tall, I feel like. And maybe, I don't know, maybe not for basketball, but like, you never count short people out in basketball. I've seen plenty of short people do well, including my friend Bungani. He does great at basketball, and he's very short.
I mean, Muggsy Bogues made the league for a reason, Brielle.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like someone with a lot of adversity and strength, and I feel like she's a commanding leader. Been through a lot, has experience, multi-sport athlete, 10 gold medals. There's no one better.
Yeah,
she's my first.
Well, Brielle is since stolen my first pick, so we are improvising now.
Okay.
I think this guy's gonna go at point guard. But I think for point guard, you want someone who can quickly weave through and drive through lanes. So I'm thinking of the track sports.
Okay.
Where you're on a different track, and I'm gonna take Matt Weston, who I remember getting, who's a skeleton racer, because those who've seen WNUR sports meetings know that I talk about skeleton a lot every week. About
skeleton is so fascinating.
I talk about skeleton a lot, and this guy, I hate watching him, but he is so good at skeleton.
Wait, why do you hate him?
Because it's like, I root for the underdogs, right?
Oh,
and this guy is just such an establishment veteran who they always put last in the order, and he always wins. And I was watching skeleton, and all of like the fun, especially the double skeleton stories. There were like sibling pairs at the bottom who like didn't succeed in their individual ones and were like racing, and just like there was a streak at the start where every new team had like some really special connection, and they beat the previous team by like hundredths of a second. And then Matt Weston just obliterated all of them.
Oh no.
And I was like, no, I wanted the fun teams to win. But Matt is an amazing British skeleton racer, as if the British needed to conquer more people. But he will be, I think, my point guard and weave through the lanes and get easy layups.
Okay. Off that, I also had a skeleton racer on my list.
Did you?
Yes, an Austrian one. Her name is Janine Flock. She won Austria's first gold in skeleton. I don't know, skeleton seems like, I mean, you kind of summed it up, but I feel like skeleton is just like a crazy sport. You need someone fearless, and I feel like anyone who does skeleton is fearless. So I picked Janine. That was my second pick.
All right. I don't think I can take 2 at once. I want to take Corey and Corey. If you've heard of this storyline of the curling mixed doubles. Okay. There was Corey Thies and Corey Dropkin. Okay. Thies became the first woman to medal in Olympic curling. It's this team from Minnesota. Okay. But yeah, it's Corey and Corey from Minnesota. And they became the first team to win a medal in Olympic doubles curling. Awesome. So I feel like we need a sharpshooter. I'll take one of the Corys. I'll take Corey Thies for now and hope Corey Dropkin makes it to the next pick.
You know what? I'll tell you that that you can have.
I can have Corey Dropkin. All right, I'll take my 2 for now then.
Then I can take 2?
I'll give you your 2 picks. Yes.
Okay. If you can't sense a pattern right now, I'm actually doing all women athletes because it's International Women's Day.
True.
Shout out to all my women, including me.
Women you are.
Yes, women and you are. And her take next, which
Yes.
is great. But my 2 next picks are gonna be Francesca. Oh gosh, Lolo. Oh gosh, Brigadia.
I think I took her in another draft.
Did
actually.
you? She's an Italian speed skater.
I think I might have taken her in one of like Eli's show's drafts a while back. Yeah.
Okay. I totally butchered her name and I feel so bad.
That's
I should have
alright.
looked at the phonetics before. But okay, get this. Her 35th birthday, right? In the 3,000 meter speed skating event, she took gold. And she was the first Italian woman to ever do that at that distance. And she also set a new Olympic record. And I need people that break records on my team, so I'm 100%. Taking her. And then for my 4th pick, I'm going with Frida Karlsson. She's a Sweden cross-country skier. She had 2 golds this year. I mean, cross-country skiing, tactical strength, lots of relentless pacing, natural leader. I need someone who doesn't quit and keeps pushing, and I think Frida's my girl.
All right, I will follow your lead here. I was torn between some men's and women's athletes here for International Women's Day.
Okay.
I'll go the women's route. I feel like, what is the big thing you value in a center on a basketball team? They're able to jump high, they're able to dunk, and they're able to get over the defenders. So I'm going to go to the women's gold medalist in ski jumping, and I'm going to take Anna Odin Strøm from Norway. I feel like she can get over anyone's head. Yeah. And she's going to...
with skis on.
Yeah, we really need someone. I mean, the WNBA doesn't have enough dunkers, right? We need someone to be the next Brittany Griner and just dunk. But.
Bro, I would love to just see a bunch of W players just dunking on each other all the time. Okay, my last pick will go to. This is kind of a personal, selfish pick, I guess, but it's gonna go to Chloe Kim for snowboarding. I snowboard. When I used to when I was little a lot. I need to get back out there, but I used to go with my dad. Shout out my dad. But I love snowboarding. I love watching it. And I think Chloe Kim is really respectable, really dominant. So yeah, Chloe Kim's my last pick.
All right.
I think that's 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my last pick. I'm torn between a few here.
Okay.
I'm going to go a little establishment with this one.
Okay.
I want someone who can spin off defenders and who can spin in the air better than Alyssa Liu.
Oh.
I feel like that's just the classic. I gotta have Alyssa Liu on my team. I'd be remiss if I went through this draft.
Yeah.
And didn't have a figure skater for this. But
I was thinking about her, but then I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I had to go a little. I left it open if you wanted her.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, we are already over time. So with that, the last episode. It's what's the moment in that TikTok sound like? The 2025 season has come to an end.
Thank you and good night.
Yes. The 2026 run of Icy Veins, the Winter Sports Block Show, has officially come to an end. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in over the weeks, rather. Over the weeks, rather.
8 years.
And I feel more than capable that next quarter's 7 to 7:30 show will be in good hands. So for the last time, I will hand it over to Brielle and Chelsea for her take, which is up next.